All right, all right. Here we go. Hitting the Road podcast. Man, I'm excited today to just chat and get to know an artist here. A lot of people may know him. He had some time on TV there for a minute. But yeah, he's crushing right now, man. Colin Stough. Colin, if I may, if I real quick for people that maybe don't know, Colin brought us singles so far like White Trash, Sober, Bad Day, and $20. And he's getting really close, I think, to about 200,000 monthly streams on Spotify alone. Colin, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. Listen, we popped on a second ago, and you may or may not want to promote this. We'll see. Maybe you, dude, you're a man of many talents, man. And I didn't know you worked with leather, man. But I mean, what? I mean, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, it's a little, just a little side deal. I mean, it's not really for it's just something that I like doing. I got bad ADHD, so when I'm not like at home
Yeah.
on the ranch or whatever, I'm up here, and when I'm not working on any music or I find myself having an off day, I'll get in the shop here and I'll do some leather work, like some wallets and stuff like that. It's just kind of good for the mind. I feel like.
Yeah, man. Well, I may have to talk to you about a purse for my wife sometime, man, if you want to knock that out. But
Yeah, let's
but
do it. Let's do
but
it.
but man, people they're gonna see you, they're gonna see this kind of thing, and man, a lot of people are gonna say, hey, I know him from, American Idol, and we can get down the road and talk about that. But man, something that interests me probably more than that even is really just kind of your upbringing and kind of where you came from. And I mean, because you're from small town, Mississippi, man. Could you kind of like lean into that a little bit and kind of tell me?
Yeah. For sure, man. Yeah, my hometown, it's got 73 people in it. It's called Gatman, Mississippi.
Mhm.
And we just raised up. We was raised rough. And
Yeah.
we cut from cornbread,
Yeah.
and man, it was an awesome upbringing. We yeah, financial struggles might have been there, but we didn't focus on them.
Yeah.
We just kept everything close and stuff like that. And man, I was raised always tinkering and working on stuff, whether it be motorcycles, cars, and stuff like that. And then I also grew up very around livestock and horses and
Yeah.
cattle and stuff of that nature as well. And but other than that, man, it was just simple living. Started
Yeah.
working when I was 13. Held 2 or 3 jobs all the way through high school, and yeah, man, just kind of hung out.
Yeah, man. Well, you mentioned, and I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a shout out, but you mentioned, on the Raised Rowdy podcast you did that, that it's that work ethic, man. It just kind of stayed with you, right? For like, I mean, even now, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just such a big part of who you are. I mean, so like when you were kind of growing up, I mean, did you just feel like, man, I'm going to be a roughneck, man. I'm going to be a guy that's like, I'm going to have a job where I'm working with my hands, or what did you see for yourself early on?
You know, yeah. So through high school, I really I just kind of got tired of just sitting at the house. Not really sitting at the house, but working around the house.
Mhm.
And when I was 13, I got a job, and I was kind of working under the table, doing metal fabrication, welding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I stayed there until a year outside of high school, or no, I stayed there until my senior year. And in my senior year, after I graduated, I ended up getting an HVAC job,
Mhm.
just strictly for the benefits. I really had no interest in doing HVAC at all, and really, I just got that job so I could kind of do my livestock on the side and really kind of pursue that end of it more. Which like hauling steers with my buddy, or hauling steers to rodeos, and everything of that nature. And then, dude, I remember I was just kind of like, well, man, I'm kind of tired of doing this too. Working 2 jobs. Staying up. Getting off work at 5. 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then having to go home and put up with horses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Uh, Really needed something different. So I had a really, really good buddy of mine, Ryan Coleman. Shout him out.
Okay. All right, Ryan.
But he was he run an excavator on a pipeline, and well, anyways, he was gonna get me a job being a swamper, for him on the pipeline, and we already had everything set up. I was gonna live in his camper till I got on my feet, and stuff like that, and we talked about it, and I want to say like that Friday we were actually supposed to get really in depth, and I was going to take the job. And that Wednesday, that's when my mom signed me up for American Idol, and
Man.
just
Well, and that's, I mean,
everything grew
that's,
from there.
yeah, and that's crazy in and of itself, man, because I mean, and again, I've heard you say before that, when your mom did that, and it sounds like your mom has been such a big part of your journey, man. And my mom, man, just, I mean, obviously we love our mothers, man, but when your mom, she signs you up, I heard you mention that you thought that it could be a scam, right? Maybe it isn't the real deal.
Yeah. So I thought that whenever I signed up, I thought that it was, or whenever she signed me up, I thought it was scam. Man, I thought it was scam until I walked in the room and kind of seen the judges in there, and I told her they wanted me to go to New Orleans and do it and, audition. And I told her, I said, look, now, if I'm going down here, you going down here with me because, if they taking me, I guess they're gonna have to get you too. And
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I thought it was scam all the way up until I walked in to actually
Oh man.
audition. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so when you walked in, because I mean, I watched the audition, obviously, and it's just like when you walked in, man. I mean, were your nerves just? I mean, did it confirm, or were your nerves just like, oh man, for now they're for real?
Oh yeah, like I wasn't nervous at all.
Okay,
The whole time I wasn't nervous until I got in there, and that's when I knew I was like, oh shit, this is real.
yeah,
This ain't really fake. This is real.
yeah,
And which I had thought it was gonna be like some like little knockoff, some little generic style thing, just like in the city or something like that. That they like a little talent show they were doing.
sure, sure.
And man, I got in there. I said, "Oh, we here." I said, "All right." And that's a short amount of time to get your shit together right there.
It's not a lot of time. Well, and man, so you've got, I mean, because they obviously you've heard, I mean, listen, man, American Idol's it's a TV show that's in millions of homes. People have seen it for decades now, right? So I mean, obviously you knew what the show
Yeah.
was, but I guess going into it, did you have any kind of like preconceived ideas of what the show might be, or even if like, man, if I hit a little bit, like, I mean, nothing. You had no thought about it?
Well, that all came after I auditioned. And
Okay,
I'm very electronically and very technology I'm not smart with it.
same. Let's
And
go.
so we did the audition and I noticed that I started really getting some traction. And I was like, wow. And so I was just kind of talking to some guys and they were like, man, you ought to put that song out that you started.
Mm,
And I said, I said, all right. So I did. And it was a song called Bad Day. And we finished writing it and I got it produced for $300.
let's
And
go.
man, that I paid for that song to be produced, and I want to say I had about $30 left in my name.
Okay.
So I was like, man, that's not good,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
man, I remember it like yesterday, dude. I didn't promote it. I didn't do videos. I didn't do nothing.
yeah,
I just put it out.
yeah, yeah.
And just over time, everybody started kind of flowing to it and really liking it. And I was like, oh, okay. And so yeah, that was really the only pre-gaming I really did, man, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Well, and man, I don't know if you've ever watched that footage back, man, but it's just like, when you do, that audition, I mean, Luke Bryan is just kind of like, I mean, he sees you, dude, for who you are, and he's just like, he's in your corner, right? Which is a big deal, and so like when you go and and listen, man, you mentioned this a little bit too. So you're going to like live shows and all this kind of stuff. I mean, are you just kind of still like, man, where am I, man? Like what even is this? I mean, like when you're on live, I mean, you go from being an HVAC guy to being on live
Yeah.
TV in a short amount of time. I mean, how did that impact you there?
Yeah, man, that'll impact you a lot. I didn't really do the whole airplane thing, and my first ever flight was out of Memphis, Tennessee
Yeah.
to Los Angeles. So,
Wow.
you know, I'd never done the airplane stuff, never flew before, and that was my first flight. And yeah, that was a big deal for me at the time, because my only transportation was a pickup truck or a Peterbilt or something like that. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah.
And well, anyways, yeah, I mean it was a big wake up call. But even today, we we're working on some stuff, and we're touring like crazy and
Hmm.
everything. And I still from time to time just I was telling a guy last night, I was like, dude, I'm blessed, man.
Sure.
driving a vehicle that's not a piece of shit, and
Yeah.
which I've had my fair share of doing that,
Sure.
and I don't
Sure.
mind it, but it's just nice, man. It's nice to really really feel blessed,
Yeah.
and it's in some sort of fashion. The way I look at it is like I could do this all day every day, but if the people
Mm.
aren't there liking it and they don't want me to do it, then I'm kind of
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah, totally. Well, man, if you don't mind me asking, man, because I know you heard, or I heard you say in another interview, man, that you had totaled your truck and you got another truck. Let me ask you, man, what make and model did you total? And if you don't mind sharing, what make and model are you driving now?
So I totaled a 2016 F-250.
Okay.
That was a really good truck. I really missed that truck. It was comfortable, and so when I done that, I was like, well, I need a vehicle to get back from Mississippi, and well, anyways, so I ended up buying actually one of my dream trucks. I bought a '94 F-350 dually. It's got a 7.3 in it. And
I love it,
I
man. I
was
love
like,
it.
man, that's awesome. And well, I got back to Nashville, and sometimes we do these acoustic shows, and I would drive like my personal vehicle or whatnot. Well, some of them were kind of pretty far away, and I was like, yeah, I can't
Yeah,
drive the dually,
I know.
I can't
Yeah.
drive her that far. And
Uh,
well, anyway, so I ended up going back home, and I made a really, really, really important phone call to one of my best friends. He is a really, really smart businessman. And me and him got to talking about what I could do, and I learned about some um, like accounting things.
hmm
And so after that, that's whenever I kind of smartened up, and I went and bought a newer F-250
Yeah.
for my business.
Yeah.
So for them, yeah,
Well, man, so I mean, first of all, I love that you bought an older make and model, man, and you didn't go out and just
yeah,
buy a brand new truck. That's amazing. That's something I would have done.
yeah.
But because man, if I can, if I may, like my wife was like, "Hey, we need to get you a new truck." Man, I found a 2008 F-150 Lariat, had about 65,000 miles on it. I was set, dude. I was like, I can put
That's all you
200,000 miles
need,
on that.
man.
Yeah,
And
man.
that's me, and that's like yeah, I've got a truck out here that's got 20,000 miles on it right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Every morning when I wake up, I'll go unplug at 350.
yeah.
I'll crank it up and I'll go where I got to go in
Yeah, man. Let's
it.
go. Let's go. Well,
That's just kind of the way I roll, man.
Yeah, well, man. So, because you mentioned too. So, like when you kind of, and in another interview, you said that. How do I want to say this, man? You enjoyed Los Angeles, right? You enjoyed your time there, as far as like kind of going out and
Yeah,
about and
I did.
all that kind of stuff. And so, but again, you're 18 at the time, man, and I think you've mentioned
Yep,
before, like you didn't, you're doing what 18-year-olds do, but you're 3 years
yep.
removed from that show and all that kind of stuff, and you mentioned like even just like with the accountant. And not only that, but I know you switched management. You mentioned that in another interview too. But so like when you're putting your team around and like, you're a different person as a businessman at 21 than you were at 18, right? Like, I mean,
Oh
like
yeah,
so it's like, what's that,
oh
what's
yeah.
that, what's that difference now with 3 years of hindsight?
Yeah. So really, man, I've always been. So I've always tried to surround myself with business people in my life. Like
Mm,
when I would get a job, I would love kicking it with the coworkers, and we were great friends. But I was always paying attention to what the boss of the company does.
yeah,
And so I've always had that very well, business mindset, even at a younger age. But from 18 to now, I would definitely say, um, well, I mean, for me to be exact, I mean, at 18 years old, I wouldn't have done this, but 21, I'm sitting here, last night at 4 a.m. this morning, going through contracts
yeah.
that were signed 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow,
it's
yeah.
like, as far as that aspect, yes, but not only that, but what I've gotten better at is really learning how to, um, you know, I always tell my guys, hey man, y'all don't y'all don't work for me, y'all work with me.
Mm,
I can't do my job without
no,
y'all.
that's the way
And,
to
and
look
I
at it.
keep it that way. And really just learning like just the business ways, man. Because I feel like every business is the same. Doesn't really matter what you're doing. It just depends on how you want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, really learning from that and learning from people that I surround myself with has helped me out a lot.
Man, yeah, that's great. And I love the way you look at it too. I think, man, some of the most amazing talents, man, they realize that sometimes you're only as good as the people behind you, you know? And so for you to say
Exactly.
that,
You're 100%
yeah.
right.
Yeah, man, that's great. And and so man, for people that maybe I hope are going to listen to you and that maybe haven't listened to you like so I was thinking about something, man, like your voice, man. Okay, so if I may, I've got a buddy of mine. He's been friends, we've been friends for a long time. He lives in Colorado Springs now, and he's an avid mountain biker. And man, dude,
Yeah.
there was this this one time he kind of came flying down the mountain or whatever, and he roughed up his knee. He kind of fell off his bike and he roughed up his knee, and so there was this little kind of piece of gravel that got stuck in his knee that to this day, 20 years later, has never. It's still with him, man. He's still got this gravel, and every now and again he can bend his knee, and you can kind of feel that little piece of gravel. And dude, when I think about your voice, dude, that's what I'm reminded of, man. It is this like gravel that is like stuck like inside you,
Yeah.
man. It just doesn't leave, dude. And I mean that.
Dude,
I
I
would
appreciate it.
oh, absolutely, dude. And so, man, first of all, when I first saw your early stuff, man, I was like, that sound that comes out of him and does not match his it does not match his he because at the time you were
Yeah.
18 again but I was like
Yeah.
because it just sounded like you had a voice that was just so far beyond, man, your years. Who were the people, man, that you looked to, whether it was the classic rock world, whether it was country, like who were the people that you're
Yeah.
like that you were really patterning yourself after?
Yeah, man. So it was definitely, Skinner is obviously like, those guys are my heroes. And, it was stuff like that, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it
Mm,
was, all the country greats, Waylon George, Willie, Merle Haggard, Vern Gotson, all of those guys. And on the rock side of it was, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, and those
mm,
those were really like my main guitar influences. Because when I first started singing, I wanted to be a guitar player. I didn't want to be a singer.
yeah.
Uh, and then I found Led Zeppelin, and I really wanted to be a singer. And it's
Yeah.
just people like that really encouraged. And I'm sure. I mean, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 12 years old, so I'm sure that had something to
Yeah.
do with it too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
But
Totally. Well, because man, when you are kind of trying to develop that sound, and I guess here's my curiosity too, is like when you're developing that, and again, I want to just kind of go back, you're 18, whatever it is, like, when you're developing that, are you at the time, are you gigging at all? Have you gigged once? I mean, have you played local shows? Like, what are you doing?
no, so I never I would there was this shed that we have behind our house, and I have guitars, and I have stuff like that, and I would just really man, I would go up there in that shed and I'd play those guitars, and I wouldn't play for anybody else. That's it. I
That's
would
it.
just
Yeah.
play for me, and it was just something that I really enjoyed doing. And I never like really sang because I was always so shy about it, man.
Yeah.
And then one day it was like I just got over it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, and I know that that's, man, and I think that that describes so many people, man. I mean, I meet a lot of people, man. We'll go to an event or whatever, and they don't, they work the outside of the room, right? They don't want to, they don't want to be seen for whatever reason. They're just
Yeah,
introverted, built that way. But I guess one thing that I'm wondering too is like when you, because obviously, dude, you went from like 0 to 60. I mean, you go from like not playing gigs really, you're playing at home to going to, you're playing nationally televised audiences, but like when did you start gigging? Like, did you start gigging after the show? And then like, how did you kind of warm up to that?
yeah. I started gigging 3 weeks after I got off the show, and man, it was just fun,
Yeah.
because I was wild as shit, and I still kind of am. And just love to party and love to have a good time. And, so it was like, oh yeah, it's like the rodeoing aspect of it, but it's actually something that I like doing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
music, And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was fun. It was really fun, and, cause some of them rodeos, we would be at, watching my buds or whatever I was doing there, they get pretty rowdy,
Sure.
but, nothing like a sold out show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. What have been some of the rooms that you played, or some of the cities that you played that you're just like, man, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, definitely Rick's down in Starkville. Mississippi, and
Yeah.
then obviously, you have to throw the Grand Ole Opry on that
Yeah.
list.
Let's go.
Um, and yeah, man, I played some really awesome theaters up north that were really, really cool and really, just nice for the eyes. They
Sure.
were really, really, really good looking theaters. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so something like that, and I've asked somebody before, man, because everybody, it's a little bit different for everybody, but it's like when you got the call from the Opry saying, "Hey, we want you to make your debut," like what does that feel like?
Man, dude, it's crazy. It's something that you're just like, okay, cool, and then you get there and it really hits you.
Yeah.
It's not really the debut thing that gets you. It's like when you get there, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just the history in the building.
Yeah. I
But,
mean, and there is so much history there, man. And so it's like, is that something that you invited, your family? Did you invite your friends? Like, what did that look like that night?
oh yeah, yeah. I invited everybody there, and we had a huge party at my house after and got slammed.
You got slammed. So man, so it was a rowdy time. It was a rowdy time. Well, so man, I mean, it sounds like you're gonna have so much, in front of you. But one thing that I wanted to ask you, man, and uh, you put out a song, White Trash, and I'm gonna let you tell about that here in a second. But it kind of reminded me, dude. It's so funny. I don't know if you ever saw the movie 8 Mile with Eminem. But
Yeah,
there's that kind of the scene at the end of the movie where he kind of flips it on its ear a little bit. He's like, I am white trash. I am this and that, and after that they had
yeah.
there was nothing there were no bullets left for them to fire at him because he kind of just like said, "Hey, yeah, you're right. I
Said
am
it
all
all
these
right
things." Yeah,
there. Yeah.
exactly. So like with a song like that, man, because I know you've mentioned like, your dad in that song a little bit, or kind of as far as like framing that up, that mindset where you were almost like you just kind of leaned into it and owned it. I mean, is
Oh
that kind of
yeah,
fair,
man. I mean,
fair?
that's what it is. That's not something I'm really ashamed about. That's something that I'm more proud about. I like being considered that because it makes me different from everybody. And
Yeah.
that's really one of the things that you take from when you listen to it. And that's something I'll probably be the rest of my life, and that's totally okay with me.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, and it's funny because you talk about, I've heard you mention just kind of the music that you're making and the art that you're making, it seemed like there was and I want to see if this is fair for me to say, there's this willingness to trust your own instincts about some of that stuff and
Oh
not
yeah,
necessarily get caught up in the machine. And man, let me tell you real quick, if I can. The other night, my wife and I, we went to this really nice Italian restaurant, and usually, man,
yeah,
when they come over to your table and they read you the specials, usually I just listen as a courtesy, like I'm not really
yeah.
listening. But this thing, but he tells me this special, man, and it's like, dude, it's got shrimp and it's got lobster tail and it's got all this stuff. And man, I was just drawn to this like off the menu, like original thing, like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, dude, give me that. Cause like I mean, that just sounds like it's out of this world. And I guess it seems like, man, your music, man, if I may, it feels like it's off menu, man. It feels like it's a little bit like it's original. It's, what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's not something it's not for everybody and it's not something that you're going to eat every day. It
yeah,
feels
you're
like,
right, man.
is that fair to say?
No, dude, 1000%. When I first come to town, it was kind of like I was thrown in the world to do what everybody else is doing, and then I just kind of was like, yeah, no, that's not me, not what I'm gonna do. And we
Yeah.
really honed in this past year of getting me back to who I am and really getting back to that music that I love to make. And I had a very very good friend of mine. He's a well known writer in Nashville, Mr. Gary Gentry.
Mm,
He told me, he said, man, it doesn't matter what music you put out. He said, if you put a song out and you love it, like
mm.
you love it, no matter if it's specific or relatable or not specific, if you love it, man, they're gonna love it.
Yeah. And man, I love that mindset. And so like when you first kind of started with BMG and all this kind of stuff, like did you feel that pressure to like almost kind of be a packaged, artist, or did they give you the freedom to just say, "Hey, we're gonna let you do it your way"?
Yeah, so I did. I felt the pressure. It was nothing to do with them. It was all to do with me in my head.
Sure.
Because I would see all these awesome guys. Like for example, Blackberry Smoke. In my
Hmm.
opinion, they're they're huge, but in my opinion, they need to be 20, 30
Yeah.
times bigger.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of seeing what was working,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, man, I just need to do what's working. And man, and it worked. It did
Sure.
work, and we had really great success out of it. And then, about a year and a half ago, I just kind of said, I'm just tired of doing that, man. I'm tired of getting on stage and not really just really loving these songs that I'm singing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, totally.
And that's when we made a beeline, dude, and we got our own back. We took that old Marshall amp, we fired it up again.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah. Well, dude, and that's the thing. I think about, like even like, the music you're making, it's like if you don't believe it, man, they're not going to believe it, right? The people that put ears on it, they're not going to believe it if you don't believe it or have any doubt about it. And the funny thing
Yeah,
is, it's funny, man, because I go back to the American Idol, but it's like, you did a cover of, Dancing on My Own, right? And it's like, dude, that's not, first of all, that's not an easy song to sing because there's so many freaking riffs in that song, and you're, dude, you're just cutting that song up, and it's like, you owned it, man. I mean, you would have thought that was an original song, man, just the way that you performed it, and so it's like I think that you've kind of got this ability, man, to kind of you're really really diverse, man, in your art, and it kind of comes across, man. So yeah, dude, I'm hopeful that more and more people kind of start to put ears on you, and let me ask you this, man, because I know that well, right now we're in the holiday season, man. Where are you spending Christmas, man?
I'm going home.
Yeah,
I'm going back to the ranch in Mississippi.
yeah,
We played our last show in Nebraska this past weekend, and I think I got about three more rights to do, and I'm gonna get on back south.
yeah, man. Yeah. Well, dude, so you're gonna go home and like, so I mean, mom is there. I mean, you got, who all's waiting for you back home?
Oh man, all the family. My mom, my grandmother, grandparents, my old lady, her folks. Just everybody, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, dude, I'm hoping it's a good holiday for you, and just looking forward, man, to 2026. I mean, and I hope you get a chance here at Christmas and everything to take a break. But in 2026, man, what are you hopeful for, man? I mean, what music projects do you have coming out? What tours do you got going on? What's up with you?
Yeah, man, we've been working on an album for about the last 2 years. We've been dropping music in between that and everything, but personally, I've been working on an album for the last 2 years, and just writing the material. And now we're actually getting to put that material and get some music behind it, and really get a plan of how we're gonna do this. And yeah, so that album is the main of my
Yeah.
concern. And really on the touring side, we've just kind of got dates kind of scattered around 2026 for right now.
Yeah, and
So
I mean, are you hopeful that maybe you're going to latch on with somebody, or is this going to be more of a kind of a, are you going to be what kind of rooms do you think you'll be playing?
yeah, I'm not really sure, man. I would love to get on a good tour with my buddies. It really doesn't matter who it is. I love to have fun, and I feel like when it's a group of y'all on tour, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, listen, man, we're pulling for you, man, and we're excited for your 2026. I mean, dude, you're young, dude. You got a lifetime ahead of you, man, and I'm excited to follow you from afar. If you need anything, man, if you need encouragement or otherwise, man, don't hesitate to reach out to us, dude. Colin, you're amazing, dude. You're a good dude, man, and you're as real as they come. So I appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
man.
brother.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for taking the time, man, and good luck hitting the road.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Thanks, man.